Carlos Nelson with Cascade Media and What's Up, Kansas City. And today we have our third district at large, Councilman Brandon Ellington on the show. And today I really want to talk about the upcoming elections and what is important for 221 and the councilman's eyesight, and any other thing that basically he wants to let our audience know about what he's doing and how he's doing it. Welcome to the show, Brandon.
Hey man, how you doing, Carlos?
All right. Hey, Brandon. Uh, talk about this upcoming election. What's important in your eyesight, and what our community should be looking at.
With this upcoming election, you have some school board candidates on there. I believe most of the races are South Kansas City races, and the E-tax should be on there, which is important. That's a fundamental aspect of city government and funding because it makes up a large percentage of our budget. If you lose that, there is no there is no replacement.
So you're saying that our community needs to pay attention, and we need to be voting for this tax.
I'm saying our community needs to be cognizant both ways. We need to be cognizant of the fact that this tax makes up a large percentage of our budget. And we also need to be cognizant that we haven't had adequate disbursements with our budget.
And when you
So
say
yeah,
that,
we need to preserve the tax, but we also need to be concerned with how those tax dollars are being spent out to the preservation.
Is there anything else that you feel that we should
Not
be
really with
looking at?
not really with the election. Uh, the election is important. The school board election is important. Obviously, I'm not going to highlight any candidates or anything like that. The e-tax is important. Uh, no issues about that. But I would prefer to talk about ordinance that is extremely pertinent right now, with two ordinances that are extremely pertinent right now, and then No More Excuses Coalition.
Go ahead, fire off.
All right. Well, you had mentioned before we started recording about a reporting conversation that came out yesterday in my office related to some speed bumps. Well, the speed bumps started last year, and I believe 23rd Street was the first area that I inquired about doing bumps in. So the No More Excuses Coalition is an organization or a collaboration, rather, of organizations. We meet on the first and fourth Monday, and then we figure out what is most appropriate that we can actually get involved in, whether that's events, activities, infrastructure, redesign, legislative issues, language, what have you. And it's a collective collaborating issue. So the speed bumps came out of that. So the interview was related to that. I guess there's some concerns about what I'm doing, but in full transparency, I'm going all through the inner city, and there'll be more speed bumps coming. But the No More Excuses Coalition is actually what I want to highlight. And again, that's the organization. We meet on the first and fourth Mondays. And it is exactly what it is, no excuses. We're dedicated to examining and redesigning culture and infrastructure. And infrastructure, everything falls in the parameters from politics to laws to actual brick and mortar builds.
Who heads up that coalition? Is that you, or do you have a lieutenant? What's uh,
No, it's ran out of my office.
it's run out of
That's
your
why I
office?
ordered. Yep. So I encourage people to actually contact my office, brandon.ellington.kcmo.org, if they want to get involved in No More Excuses Coalition. And then I want to read through some language that is extremely important that people understand the language and then the application of this language. Um, and I'm going to read it somewhat quick just to get through it. Ordinance 210140 establishes the Office of Citizen Engagement. The office shall be responsible for informing and assisting residents about city charters, ordinances, and resolutions through a combination of responsive outreach activities. Those activities would be Section 3. The Office of Citizen Engagement shall be responsible for providing information and offering programs to assist residents in understanding city finances and grants. Section 4. The Office of Citizen Engagement will be responsible for performing outreach activities to inform residents of grants and programs that are available to residents, and the city will work with other city departments to expand grants and other programs available to residents. Number 5, The office will work with city departments and community organizations to increase awareness and access to services provided through federal and local grants. Number six, the office will work with city departments and community organizations to expand services under grants from the United States Department of Justice and assist residents with qualified language. Number seven, the office will work with departments to develop and maintain the My KCMO citywide app. That's the one everybody's been talking about lately. And that number eight, the Office of Citizen Engagement will provide training to residents and neighborhood groups on open data KC. With that data stack, you will be able to track the city's performance, service deliverables. You will also have the ability to pay bills, get feedbacks, report problems, the whole nine. It syncs all departments. Number 10, the Office of Citizen Engagement will report back monthly to the City Council with updates, processes, and procedures. The support hub, let's pass the support hub last year. Last year, the support hubs mandated the city property is turned over to nonprofit organizations. If you pay attention to the so-called media now, and particularly the fake media on the east side, they're promoting the new program of the city being willing to engage with nonprofit organizations to sell land bank property to them, where there's already a mandate for them, right? So I wanted to get through the Office of Citizens Engagement real quick. I wanted to hit you with the first question. Any question you have, man, I'm definitely open to talk about whatever.
All right. Well, first of all, this land bank, some other people that uh, work with these community groups was talking to me about the land bank. Uh, I'm not really up on that. If you can go a little detail,
As,
not j-
as
for
you
me and for the layman, because fundamentally that's what I am on. What's going on there in City Hall?
now,
How is
give me
that
just
affecting us?
hold on, give me just a minute. I'm actually looking for the ordinance that I passed, and when I read this ordinance, it would explain uh, part of the program that you guys are seeing, in which they're saying they're willing to turn these properties over, but there's a fundamental difference. In the ordinance in which I passed, there was no hard financial amount. The financial amount would be contingent upon the organization's ability to be able to provide resources. And I'm still looking for it. Give me just a second. I did not already have that one pre-pulled up, like I had the Office of Citizen Engagement. But basically, the program will do exactly what the language that I passed last year stated. But the importance of this is that for over a year, we have so-called African American leadership, alphabet agencies, and media outlets that are supposed to be the vanguards or the first contact when it comes to information in the community. Yet they fail to say anything about this until the city comes out with a program to charge for it. Exact same thing that we could have been getting for free, and you still can get for free because mine is an ordinance, not a resolution. Uh, Ask me another question as I find
All
this.
right,
Oh,
first of
good.
all, tell our audience, my lay audience, the difference between that resolution and ordinance.
A resolution would be a promissory note. Um, all right, so I'm looking on here. I can give you the number, but I will find the ordinance here in a minute. Um,
The ordinance has teeth, and the resolution doesn't have teeth.
Now, ordinance is none but a resolution is none but a promissory note. An ordinance is effective by city law, city charter. So yes, an ordinance has teeth. A resolution has no teeth. A resolution just sounds good. All right, here it is. Uh, okay, it was reduced to a resolution. My bad. So I guess it didn't have all the teeth, and that
Well,
would have
most
been
of the
one
things
nine
that I
zero
see that's supposed
eight
to
five eight.
help our community across the board uh, in a, a resolution form that has no teeth. It's almost like I kill everybody in the city, and then a group of people say, "Well, we're going to pray that that don't happen again."
Yeah, we have a lot of resolutions, and it appears that the final passage of that one was as a resolution on. Again, that would be 190-858. I try not to do resolutions Sometimes in committee they are altered.
All right,
Most of
let's
mine that
keep
I
it
filed are
moving.
ordinances.
Uh,
Go
Tell me
ahead.
this. How is your relationship working out with the city manager, the new city manager?
So far, I have no issue with him. He was actually instrumental in passing the Office of Citizen Engagement. It was his idea to put his or his team idea to put 311 in there, and also the My KCMO app.
On
I
a
was
one
more.
to ten, what would your rating be of his performance thus far?
I'm not gonna do that one. I'm gonna
All right.
say that relationship wise, in my engagement, I have no issues with him. In my engagement, everything that we talked about, we've been able to figure out a way to work towards.
How about the mayor?
The mayor, I actually have a good relationship with him. Politically, I disagree on several issues, or at least uh, the way of going about the issue or the objective.
Are
But
you
personally, we actually got a good relationship. Politically, we just disagree on certain issues.
all right? That's the same with me. I don't know what kind of relationship, but I disagree on some things. But fundamentally, uh, he's representing. On another area, what about your colleagues? What
My
is that
colleague,
atmosphere
I
like?
was I would say it's the same. I think people actually have to understand my motivation. My motivation isn't to be in politics to hold hands and sing kumbaya. My motivation is actually to bring concrete legislative change. In that fashion, I have no issue. In that fashion, we've been able to do the support hubs. We've been able to do the Office of Citizens Engagement. We've been able to do the transfer station for the inner city. We've been able to do several. We've been able to do the bulky pickup language. We still need appropriations for some of this, but that will come through the
All
budget
right,
process.
so let's fast track. Uh, what's your what do you have to say if you have anything to say about 18th and Vine?
It depends on the question. It needs to be developed.
From the development, the whole situation, buildings falling in, all of that stuff has been like that forever. There's been a lot of money put down there, and
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
mum is the word.
Well, there would be several informational uh, outlets coming from my office. So when we talk about a lot of disbursements allocations, I'll be going in vivid detail in certain areas. 18th and Vine is a good example. So when we talk about the building that fell in, there was some concern in the community that colleagues didn't support the white boxing of facility. Well, there's two understandings about taxpayer dollars. Either we spend taxpayer dollars more than once, or we spend taxpayer dollars appropriately, right? So when we talk about the white box, and I actually passed the RFP.
Break that down for my audience. White boxing.
White boxing is exactly what it sounds like. You put a white facade or a white box or a frame around a building. You don't structurally fix it, right? You put a frame around it. So who's to say if it would have fell in or if it wouldn't have fell in? But the whole point of it is how we're actually going to develop. So I passed the RFP sometime last year, and the RFP has several properties, and that particular property was one of the properties in that RFP too. And that actually consists of the selling of the property, the long-term strategic plan of redeveloping the area down there, and all of that good stuff. So either we spend money on the developer that's supposed to come in and redevelop everything, or we spend money on something that the developer may keep, may not keep. And when we look at the historical aspect of it, historically, that in particular area where that building fell, I would encourage people to actually research uh, what was it, the Economic Union and a few other entities that was down there. And then let's talk about the dollars and what's being spent and what hasn't been spent.
Uh, is there anything else that you'd like to comment on in particular?
Nah, I'm willing to answer any questions, but I'm more encouraging people to join the No More Excuses Coalition and to reach out. Again, with media, it's important that we control the narrative and there will be a lot of information coming out. So I encourage people to either follow me on social media, plug into me in my office, but definitely join the No More Excuses platform, because we don't just talk about issues, we've actually bring viable solutions to those issues.
I think, from my perspective, everything that's broken in the world, less more in our community, the only way it can be fixed is through the political process, because that's actually what has put these structural uh, hurdles in front of us. And for that to be taken down, uh, we have to correct the policies, and you can't correct the policies without the politicians. And the politicians, either they're, to me, either they're working for you or they're not working at all, from my perspective.
Yeah, it'd be good when you engage with politicians, but currently you're talking to a proletarian. So
Right, right. You
different
you said
motivation,
that
different
3 or 4
understanding.
times. Tell our audience again what you differentiate yourself as a
I'm
proletarian versus a
I'm gonna,
politician.
I'm gonna put it this way, because we've had this conversation several times. So the difference between me and others is I actually represent those that I claim to represent.
All right, all right. Hey, Brandon, it was a pleasure having you on. Always, uh, you know, I say, and we have these awards coming up, and you're going to be getting one. You remind me of the politicians that I came up with, that was in the street and getting down, what I call getting down dirty, and uh, really interacting and representing your community the way that they seem to be happy with, or you wouldn't be in office. And that's the main thing on all of this political things. The people that are representing us, uh, their constituency obviously support you, and I support you. I come out straight out and tell you I support you, because I think that you're doing some things that need to be done. But just like with the mayor and everybody else, I might can't support everything you do, but I tell you this: 80%, I'm there with you, because I think that you're doing a bang up job representing our community.
No, I appreciate it, but you should ask yourself why you ain't with me the other 20%, and then
Well,
figure that out and get on board.
no, I just like you not with the mayor and the rest of them people on different things. They're real subtle things, but the main thing is I go to the wall with you. If someone's saying anything about Brandon Ellington, I'd be like, well, how about looking at yourself, bro or sister? What are you doing? Because I'm the cutoff king on these conversations, and I will point my finger. But if I'm not doing it and you're not doing it, who the heck is doing it?
Yeah.
And our community really cannot afford to not address these issues that are structurally in place, that are holding us back. And last thing I wanted to ask you, I know Councilwoman Raina Shaw is coming on I think she this morning they said the second. That uh, uh, well, it wasn't a I think it was an ordinance on that accountability. She was, you know what I'm talking about, that she passed her, and uh, about some accountability. Do you know how that's going?
Nah, I'm not exactly sure which one you're
Well,
talking about.
uh, they about 2 months ago they adopted a resolution or ordinance that they were creating that new office.
You talking about the resolution for the disparity officer?
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody, let me say this to my audience. I don't do no research and all of this stuff on this. So that's why I usually let the politicians say whatever. If I see something, but how is that going?
I know they put out a RFP for the hiring. I haven't actually followed it though. I was gonna adopt some of the language and the ordinance that I had, but the committee process proved to be something different. So I don't actually know.
All right. As I said, in closing, do you have any closing statements?
Yeah, No More Excuses Coalition. You can contact my office, brandon.ellington.kcmo.org. And again, we'll be cutting through all of the BS this summer and trying to do as much as we can to educate so we can liberate. We the people, always active.
Oh, no. One, always tacking something on. Run it down about Alvin Sykes and how you feel about Alvin.
Nah, Alvin, it's a whole different relationship there with me and Alvin. Beyond politics, beyond how people viewed him and his fight and what he's actually done. I actually know Alvin and understand somewhat who Alvin was and is. And I'm not talking about character. So 2011, I got elected to the state, right? 2012, that was 2011 was in December. 2012, I filed a bill for the removal of sexual abuse and the statute of limitations for sexual abuse and molestation. That ideal came from Alvin. We fought for that bill for about 3 or 4 years until we actually passed it. The first year, Alvin actually came up there and testified. That dude would do things with not seeking recognition, not for anything other than the fact that it was a necessity and the purity. So those that knew Alvin was actually blessed to actually be able to share that same space with that spirit. Those that didn't physically know him, they missed out on a unique spirit. I believe his wake and funeral is April the 1st, and there is a GoFundMe page to help for his funeral, but I don't remember all that information.
Right, I've got it up on our sites, but Alvin and myself used to be roommates for about 3 years, and you know when we was up at the Du Bois Learning Center, because you used to come up there and bring your clan.
They had the kids and the strollers and all of that.
And you know what? Perrin, you're not Alvin, but you, that Bernard Powell thing I'm talking about, that Alvin said, all of y'all are in the same basket with me. Represent the community. It ain't about no money. It's not about no fame. It's, hey, I'm trying to do some of the right things in life, and that's really hard.
It's not really hard. It's just it's just a lot of irritation because there's a lot of fraud around pure movements, and I believe the irritation that probably would have been universal. I never talked to Bernard Powell, but probably universal would be the seeing people fake doing what another cat is actually struggling and doing an authenticity, and that creates a whole different level of irritation because the people need to be more cognate, more aware, and more conscious of what they support, why they support it, and where they put their energy and their effort into.
Hey man, it's a pleasure having you on as always. And as we say, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.
The program is brought to you by the Kansas City Business Association.